Newman.
Calling all Wolves fans, join us for a Michelob Ultra Wolves watch party at Wild Boar Bar and Grill in Oakdale this Wednesday. Come hang with KFAN's own Max Fuller from 7 to 9 p.m. and register on site to win awesome prizes. Plus, enjoy food and drink specials while you cheer on the Wolves. Don't miss out. Get all the details at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
What's the name of the place again?
That would be Wild Boar Bar and Grill in Oakdale.
Go see
this Wednesday, 7 to 9.
Our Max.
Hootie
Who our Max, not the Vikings Max. Max Brosmer, who we may see Sunday, suited up to take on the Seattle Seahawks. A game here on this radio station. Tend to be, I'm assuming it's that 3:05 or 3:25 start.
3:05.
3:05. Coverage then will begin at 1 o'clock. Someone sent me a post from Minnesota Sports Fan at Real MN Sports Fan. Says the Vikings claim they do not know when McCarthy suffered his concussion yesterday, but then they show
Well, just for the record, they haven't said he has a concussion.
No, just a protocol.
He's in concussion protocol.
Right, yes, that's right, correct. The concussion protocol. It's good. I'm glad you cleared that up. That is exactly right. They just say he's in the concussion protocol. But they asked the coach if there was a particular hit, and they couldn't identify one. I'm watching a highlight from this post on X, the old Twitter, where McCarthy scrambles. It's the pocket breaks down. He's running. He gets hit at the first down line. He gets hit pretty hard, and the Packer player lands on top of him, and he's laying there for a second with his arms kind of splayed out a little bit, and then Hawkinson helps him out. Now, I'm not saying he did get the concussion. First of all, we don't know if he had a concussion, and I don't know if that would be the play, but he was stunned there, you could tell a little bit. And so, that's just one play. You don't know. You can't identify by it. Are you seeing the same play I am right now? Can you see that?
Where is it at?
It's on my, I have it on the email here.
Oh, I only have the text up over here.
Okay. You can come over and look at it later, but anyway.
Or you can forward it on to me.
Oh, I could. Yeah, I guess I can do that, can't I? Hold on. You know me. I'm so bad at this kind of stuff. I don't know.
You're not bad, you're learning.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my children when they say they're bad at stuff.
Well, I've quoted this. I've quoted this. A line from a movie before about Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Rule number 1: don't be good at something you don't want to do. That's part of that's part of what I do here. Anyway, I'll get it to you when I can find it. I don't know. Here's what I will say, and again, this could be controversial. I'm about to say something controversial.
That's interesting,
and it might not even be accurate. I think a lot of that, but I've alluded to this on a number of occasions. I think a lot of the situation we are in is because of the ego of the head coach. Now, I can't prove it, but we talk all the time about it. A team is always looking to what's the word I'm looking for now? They're always looking to identify and discover a franchise quarterback. Sam Darnold last year played like a franchise quarterback. You can't deny it. He was really, really good, except for those 2 games you mentioned.
And one of those 2, I'm not even wasn't like I give him a lot of blame in the Detroit game,
right? But not the
Rams game. I mean, just
exactly.
I don't know what quarterback would have handled that pressure.
That's exactly right. So they decided, nope, we don't want to spend $100 million on him. Danny Dimes, I read again this weekend, would have liked to have come back, but he thought they were going to work wonders with McCarthy, or we're going to go with McCarthy, and so he didn't want to play a backup. He wanted to start. Both Darnold and Danny Dimes of Baltimore are enjoying excellent seasons. Monumental success. Colts lost yesterday, but they lost at Arrowhead in a squeaker to Mahomes and the Chiefs, who were in desperation mode. They needed to win that game, and the Colts almost won that game. So it's not as though it's not smoke and mirrors, I don't think, with Danny Dimes and the Colts, nor is it with Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks. He's been deemed a quarterback whisperer. They did it on the broadcast yesterday again. They kept showing the pictures of all the quarterbacks and their stats, and it was all this credit was being heaped upon O'Connell. And I think he can coach quarterbacks up. I think that is one of his attributes, and he's probably better than a lot of guys at it, right? Matter of fact, he might be, I don't know this because I don't know, I also think the guy with San Francisco is really good at coaching up quarterbacks too, the Shanahan character. Yeah. And there's probably a couple of other guys. McVay is probably pretty good too, right? McVay had Goff. Goff played well enough to get the team to a big game, right? And Stafford, I think it's more has to do with Stafford than McVay, but McVay was the coach there, and Stafford won a big game in his first year there, and they're continuing to enjoy success. So there are other coaches, I think, that are good at. I got to think Andy Reid's pretty good at it too. He did a nice job with Alex Smith, right? Alex Smith played pretty well for Kansas City. Donovan McNabb. And look what he's doing with Mahomes. So it's not like O'Connell's got the market cornered, but I think, and he probably believes he's good at it. So I'm really not trying to rip him. But I think I am kind of ripping the decision to say, you know what? We can take that money, because that's the other comeback from people all the time is we wouldn't have been able to sign those free agents. None of those free agents. I think the Fries guy, there was a nice little piece on him the other day in one of the Fish Wraps or Athletic that said he's been kind of the rock of that. Yeah, the glue of that offensive line. He probably has had a nice year. That's good, okay?
It's the only one that's been healthy the whole time.
Yeah, right. And then, one of the defensive guys is Hargrave.
Javon Hargrave.
I think
he's had moments,
that's what I'm saying.
not consistently.
Right, he had some moments, so he's played a little better as of late, I guess.
Jalen Redmond's probably been one of their best defensive players.
Yeah. And was he one of the guys we signed as a free agent?
No.
Okay, so he was here. So you can say that we wouldn't have been able to sign those players, but none of those players have made the impact on the team that Sam Darnold had on this team. And I get it. Darnold's a quarterback. He's going to make more of an impact, good or bad, right? He's quarterback, most important position in sports, notorious DIG. But I think the coach thought, I don't think they evaluated McCarthy as well. I think they thought they would be able to have him hit the ground running, and that with me coaching him up, like we've done with other guys, we can continue. Because you're not going to tell me they made those moves, especially coming off a 13-4 season, thinking, well, we're just hoping to do okay this year and do right around 500, game or so as we develop our quarterback. They were trying to win, and they were trying to win now, and it hasn't worked out that way. So now it's like, and this season's now it is a wash. I mean, they would have to win. Think about it. They're at 4-7. You got to be 10-7 at best, right? That means running the table. I just don't see it.
And that might not get you in.
And that might not even get you in. And
I don't think it will.
Yeah, I don't think you probably won't. And
you're going to have to get to 10-7 and win tiebreakers.
Yeah. And then, that starts with Seattle. I said this going into the Green Bay game, and it's not like I was going against the grain. I think most people felt this way. I think most people did. Most rational people that aren't drinking the Kool-Aid. It was hard to pick unless you're Mark Rosen, it was hard to pick the Vikings to win the game at Green Bay with the way McCarthy's been playing quarterback. It was just too difficult to do it. And you know what? It was 10-6 at the half. And the Vikings forced a punt after, I think Green Bay got a first down. I think they ran 6 plays, right? And then they had to punt. And then it was the unfortunate bad bounce that hit, what's the kid's name? Price?
Miles Price.
It hit him. Green Bay then got the ball, the 6th? Yep. 2 plays later, they're in. But again, you should still be able to, that's 17-6, okay? That's 11 points. You still have the entire fourth quarter and a really good portion of the third quarter. Your defense has been playing well to get back in the game, and they weren't able to do it.
They just don't have any margin for error with the way that offense is going.
0.
Yeah.
And so
you get down 11, you think, oh, it's over.
Yeah. And so, and I think, and I've always been kind of just going on a gut with McCarthy, too. You just have this gut feeling. You watch, you see, it is possible. It's not beyond possibility, Tenneby, that he could be one of those guys that takes a long time. They stay patient with him here, or maybe not. Here he goes elsewhere like Darnold did, right? Darnold played on several different teams, and he blossoms somewhere. But, man, if you take that chance, head coaches and general managers lose their jobs over decisions like that if they wait too long, right? And so I don't know where this is going to lead. I don't think anybody does. It is still possible that he does not have a concussion and that he's in the protocol, but he might not have it. He may play Sunday against Sam Darnold in Seattle. I'm kind of thinking that's not going to happen. It's going to be Max Brosmer. And, do I expect any miracles with Brosmer? I don't know. They talk about how smart Brosmer is and how he has a handle on the offense and stuff like that. The kid seems to be a bit fearless.
Brock Purdy 2.0.
Well, he could be. It could very well be. So we'll probably find out more. We'll take another break, come back, another couple of segments to go here on the Common Man program, along with Tenneby, right here on the Fan.
Celebrate St. Patrick's season early with Dropkick Murphys at the Palace Theater. Experience the energy and all the hits you love on March 6th. Don't miss out. Get the full details today at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Couple 13, 14 past. I'm Common. He is Tenneby. What's the name of this one? Sounds very majestic.
This one is called Clear to the Top.
Clear to the Top. Are we clear to the top? No, we have to take one more break. So, in discussing the Vikings quarterback situation for all these months, and we talked about quarterback whisperer and Darnold, O'Connell taking him under his wing and such. And I always said, Tenneby, I was like, well, I'll give you that. I'm not going to say O'Connell didn't have something to do with it, but what about all that time spent in San Francisco? He spent a season in San Francisco and went to now he didn't play. He backed up Brock Purdy, but they went to the big game. Now they lost. That was the year they beat Detroit in the NFC Championship game 3 years ago now, I think. But I did a little research. Believe it or not, Timmy, I actually did some research. Here's a couple of pieces from a story I read. Sam Darnold praised Brock Purdy extensively, crediting him for, quote, unlocking his career by teaching him how to better prepare, study defenses, and adopt a point guard mentality of getting the ball to playmakers rather than forcing plays, which helped Darnold develop a more consistent, even-keeled approach and have his career best season with the Vikings in 2024. Darnold stated that Purdy's meticulous preparation, notice that's Purdy and not Common. Darnold stated that Purdy's meticulous preparation and on-field processing were inspiring, and that he learned invaluable lessons from him during their time there as teammates with the 49ers. Key things Darnold said about Purdy, preparation and study. He said, quote, he showed me so much on how to prepare and how to study. He was so helpful that way. Mindset shift. Purdy described his role as a point guard, getting the ball to playmakers, a shift in the mindset that unlocked Darnold's game as he previously tried to force plays. Even-keeled demeanor. Darnold admired Purdy's consistent emotion on the field, never getting too high or too low after good or bad plays. Claw your way up. Darnold felt Brock showed him what it takes to claw your way up and seize every chance, crediting him with potentially saving his NFL career. Learning from a younger player. Despite his draft pedigree, Darnold actively learned from Purdy, even quizzing him on coverages, recognizing Purdy's deep understanding of the offense. Darnold's comments came during his introductory press conference with the Seattle Seahawks in early 2025, where he reflected on his time as Purdy's backup in San Francisco in 2023. Now, there may have been part of that news conference that I did not see in this piece I found where he credited Kevin O'Connell and Wes Phillips and maybe who else was here when Purdy was here. Who else was the quarterback?
When Darnold was here, I mean?
Yeah, when Darnold was here.
McGowan,
you know. And McCarthy, wasn't McCarthy here when? Yeah, McCarthy hadn't played, but he was here on injured reserve. And then who was our backup back? Was that Mullins still?
Nick Mullins, yeah.
Okay. He may have mentioned some of those people in his introductory news conference in Seattle, but I didn't find it. So in other words, you can say all you want about the head coach being the quarterback whisperer. It sounds like Brock was the quarterback whisperer to me.
Well, and do you know the name that has been tied to the Minnesota Vikings as a veteran they could look for in the offseason? Brock Purdy's current backup, Mac Jones.
So there you go. There you go. So, I just was always, I always wondered about who should get, because there was no mention of Shanahan though either. I always thought Shanahan had a lot to do with it, but I think Shanahan probably helped Purdy. If you want to give coaches credit for helping to cultivate quarterbacks, then you'd have to give Shanahan some credit in cultivating.
Shanahan's been known just more as an overall offensive genius,
right,
as opposed to specifically a quarterback whisperer.
Right.
But obviously that helps the quarterback.
It does indeed. So, and as we look ahead, again, it does, barring a run the table and, like you say, get help from this team and that team, the Vikings seem to be just playing out the string now. I would assume, for those of you who just joined us, the head coach in his 12:30 day after the game news conference said that McCarthy is in the protocol. We don't know if he has a concussion, but he's in the protocol. If he is not able to play, in response to a question from a media member at the news conference, he said that it would be Max Brosmer, that he would start. They wouldn't go to they asked him also, would you consider, bringing somebody else in case McCarthy's out for a long period? And they said yes. They would look at all sorts of different options. In other words, bringing a guy to back up Brosmer. Because I don't even know who do they have another guy in the practice squad? Who would they mention? I didn't hear a name. Do they have a practice squad guy? I'm sure they do, right?
I don't remember who it is.
String, but I don't know who it is either. And my guess is,
I know they had like Desmond Ridder there at points throughout the season.
So I don't think they would be. I don't think you're ready to go with a guy like that. But then again, what would it really matter at this point either? I don't know what there is to gain from throwing. I mean, Brosmer would be the only choice, I think, because as long as you got him, you may as well see what you got with him too. Because if Brosmer, and I'm not saying that, you're looking to see if Brosmer could be a starting quarterback, though you could see that. What if he went in and he was brilliant? It's always possible. I mean, I think it's unlikely. It's possible he's brilliant, right? But at least if he's got a good command of the offense. He's a great backup. He's a good guy to have in the quarterback room. And if he's willing to continue to be a backup next year, we'd love to have him again. Because he was undrafted. And we saw what he did with the Gophers. He was a nice player. I was talking to Nordo again, and he thinks a lot of there have been, I'm not going to say it's been a groundswell for Brosmer, but there have been people that have said, what are we doing here? Let's throw Brosmer in there. And I think Nordo, if I understood him correctly, I don't want to put words, well, I've always put words in people's mouths. I think he thinks a lot of the let's play Brosmer crowd are Gopher fans, that because he played here, that's the only reason they want him. And I would bet if there's 100 people that want Brosmer, I would say there's a percentage of that 100 that's because of the Gopher tie.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's everybody. Like for me, it has nothing to do with him being a Gopher. It's just like, hey, he played pretty well when he was with the Gophers. That was the school he played
I think we just know him better.
Yeah, we know him better. Yeah. And you just go, and you also say, everybody likes the guy that's backing up the starter when the starter's not playing well.
But I mean, like when your third quarterback was Brett Rippon, nobody knows anything about Brett Rippon. No. So no one gets excited about Brett Rippon. Whereas Max Brosmer, we saw him play at the University of Minnesota last year. We saw him play great in the preseason. He had some moments in joint practices and in training camp. So I think that's more so the excitement than just he played 1 year for the University of
Yes,
Minnesota.
I think that's it.
It's not like he's from St. Paul.
Right.
And we are just...
Right. And there are some that probably...
We'll turn on him in an instant if he's bad.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I'm sure there are some people that like the Gopher connection, and that's maybe part of the reason why, but I don't think that's everybody. Let's take our final break. And then we'll come back, and it's been a very controversial, fast-paced, action-packed show. Some of our best work. Unprecedented response from the emailers. Nothing from the coroner's office.
You've got to be kidding me.
We're back after this here on The Fan.
Wolves.
KFAN and the Vikings are teaming up for Toys for Tots. Join us live at Shields at Eden Prairie on Tuesday, December 2nd from 5:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. for our annual broadcast presented by Unreal. Bring a toy, spread some joy, and if you're one of the first 50 donors each show, you'll score a sweet KFAN Unreal Winter Beanie. Details at KFAN.com/toys. Also, we should mention the Friday Football Feast is taking over Buffalo Wild Wings at Mall of America this Black Friday. Join Paul Allen, Eric Nordquist, and Alec Lewis as they break down Sunday's showdown with the Seahawks. Doors open at 8 a.m. Great food, drinks, and prizes, including trade home shoes, gift cards all morning long. Details at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Couple 13-14 pass, Common Man program. PJ Flex show tomorrow at 12 noon. Tenneby and I will make our triumphant return at 1.
I will not be here tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're out for a couple of days. So I will make my triumphant return. Do we know who's sitting in that chair?
I thought Blakemore said he was going to be there.
So Blakemore will be here for a couple of days, I think. Head coach from the Tipsy Steer. I knew I could get it. I knew I'd be at the Tipsy Steer. And we'll see what the head coach has to say. The Gophers lost to Northwestern 38-35 at Wrigley. Northwestern is building a new stadium, and so they've been playing their home games at Wrigley. The Gophers missed a 40-yard field goal wide left as time expired. The Gopher defense, I think they have a first-year defensive coordinator, if I'm not mistaken. And this is what Randy Johnson writes in he's Fish Wrap Factory West Side, in his analysis piece after the game. It says, the Gophers defense, a week after giving up 510 yards in a loss at playoff contending Oregon, surrendered 525. So 15 more yards to a Northwestern team that entered the game ranked 106th nationally in total offense, 110th in scoring offense, and 116th in passing offense.
You've got to be kidding me.
We already know Minnesota's not in Oregon's league, and Northwestern certainly isn't, but how do you give up that? They gave up more yards to Northwestern, which is woeful. They are an awful offensive team, according to these numbers. I'll repeat those again. They surrendered 525 to Northwestern, 15 more than they did to the Oregon, to a Northwestern team that entered the game ranked 106th nationally in total offense, 110th in scoring offense, in 116th in passing offense. Wildcats quarterback Preston Stone completed 25 of 30 passes for 305 yards and 2 tutties, finding Griffin Wild for 11 receptions, 111 yards and a tutty, and Hayden Elajon II, not to be confused with Hayden Elajon III or the first, for 7 catches and 127 yards. Gophers coughed up a 28-13 third quarter lead and allowed the Wildcats to score 22 consecutive points and 25 overall in the second half. Flex said, quote, "We did not play well enough as a team. Offense, defense, and special teams to come out with a victory in what was necessary to win this game. Really, I wouldn't have known that just by reading these stats. I didn't even have to see the game because I did not see it. Tennessee, your choice. Watch Gophers versus Northwestern or play golf.
It's not even a choice.
And I shot
it's obvious.
And I shot a 77 that afternoon. I performed much better than the Gophers did. You know how I finished? We started on the back. I went 39 on the back. And on the front, I went bogey, par, double. I hit it in the water on the par 3. From that point on, I parred 4, birdied 5, parred 6, birdied 7, bogeyed 8, and then parred 9. Yes, Danny Collins is the first-year coordinator, defensive coordinator. Here's what else Flex said. Oh, it says, over the past 3 games, this is what Johnson writes. Over the past 3 games, the Gophers have given up 1,502 yards. I'll repeat that, Tennessee. Over the past 3 games, the Gophers have given up 1,502 yards to Northwestern, Oregon, and Michigan State. Michigan State's not any good either. They hadn't won a Big Ten game. They had won like 2 or 3 Big Ten games, 3 Big Ten games over the past 2-3 seasons.
Why are you talking about that game, though? All I know is we were 0-1 in the Northwestern championship season.
That's exactly
all I'm...
what he said. He says, I don't look at that. I don't look at the 3rd straight game. This was a 1-game championship season. You're not playing for a championship, dude. Can you stop with the nonsense? That was cute early on. Hey, he calls every championship season. That's it. Enough of that. You're trying to string wins together. You're trying to make a real championship season. This was a 1-game championship season. We're 0-1. This game has nothing to do with the last game. Okay, I guess, yeah, technically it doesn't, but it does because there are trends. And there are, if you give up an average of 500 yards, because that's, last I checked, Tennessee, 1,502 yards over 3 games is just about 500 yards average a game. Just slightly under that. There's a trend there, and those games do kind of start to look like they're mirror images of each other, and they are kind of similar. And it's hard to forget about the last. I mean, I know you want to. Fleck was asked how he assesses the first-year defensive coordinator's work. Says, I look at 3 things. I look at coaching, I look at personnel, and I look at scheme. Those are the 3 things I evaluate every single week. I love what Danny's doing. I love how hard our defensive staff works. We've just got to be able to make the plays when they present themselves. Lindsey was pretty good. 20 of 30 for 264 and 4 tutties. But just not... And, it's like, and Johnson even wrote, the headline of his analysis says, for the Gophers, just being good isn't good enough anymore. And I tend to agree with that. And I understand that we're dealing with, it's a whole new world out there because of NIL, name, image, likeness. We do know it just appears, and I don't have any numbers in front of me. I Googled it about a week or so ago about how much NIL money do the Gophers have? How much NIL do they? And they have NIL money. It's not as large as a lot of other schools, but I don't think it can be completely on NIL money because then it's too convenient of an excuse. The coach has been here 9 years. I don't think he's done a horrible job, but the 1-game championship season and all that, and you've heard me say this before, Tennessee, that the rah-rah, Sky-Uma, Gopher stuff and all that, and the, surfing and, bodies, he does the body surfing thing in the locker room after wins and runs up and down the sideline. And, he's talking to 17, 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids, and that's good for them. If he was your and I boss, we'd probably both leave. But, because I don't ever want to see Chad Abbott body surf with the rest of the staff here, holding him up above us. But, And after a while, it's like, okay, well, and is it even realistic to think that the University of Minnesota football program, no matter who the coach is, whether it's Fleck, Kill, Clays, Wacker, Mason, or Lane Kiffin, could they ever compete and beat Oregon, beat Iowa? Not just once in 6 years like Flex has or however long it's been, but I mean, it's got to be more than 6. He's been here 9 years, right? Mm-hmm. Every single year. Or Michigan or Ohio State. No, but I'm not a moral victory guy, but I'd take a moral victory. I would take where we got the ball with a chance to win at the shoe against Michigan at the shoe with 2.5 or minute and a half to go, and we fall short. But we scared them.
Just be competitive.
Be competitive. Scare them a little bit. I'd even take that, and I'm not a big moral victory guy, but we can't even do that.
No.
And the coach, after 2 of those losses, the one to Ohio State and one to Oregon, both times he said, or maybe it was the one to Michigan State. Did we beat Michigan State?
We beat them, but it was a challenge to the end.
Yeah, it took it in the overtime. I think it was after the Oregon game then too. But I know it was for sure after the Ohio State game. He did the old, but by gosh, we have a good program and we have a good team.
Huh?
Well, good, I guess, when it comes to playing the Northwesterns is of the world and some of these other, the bottom 12 of the Big 18. Big 18's got a handful of really good teams, right? Obviously, Ohio State, Oregon. And then you have USC's ranked. They're a top 15 team, I think. Iowa's a top 20 team in Indiana. You have 5 teams that are nationally ranked. Are there any others, or is that Nebraska? Now, Nebraska was 25th at one point, but they've fallen off the face of the earth. Penn State, that's the crazy one, because weren't they in the semifinals of the national championship tournament last year? And then to fall flat on the fence, it was so shocking they fired Franklin. They said, Ben, we know you discovered electricity, but you're out. There's no electric atmosphere anymore at Penn State. So he's gone. And then he got hired by, I think, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River.
Illinois is ranked 21.
Okay, so you got 6 teams ranked, but we're not there. How would we fare against Illinois? We didn't play them this year, right? I don't know. You would hope you could play Illinois and beat them. Just because they're 21, we'll beat them. I don't know. I think the one thing that you do have is this quarterback. Is he a true redshirt freshman? Is that how they say that?
No, he's not red shirt, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, true freshman means he's not a red shirt.
Okay.
I mean, his first year.
Okay, so he's a redshirt freshman.
Yeah.
And he has shown some promise. He looks like he can. I think he plays without fear. I think he can spin it. But it's just. And then your Wolves club. How about that? Apparently, the Suns said they were cocking off the Wolves when they were up. What was it? 10 with 50 seconds to go.
Sounds about right.
Or 8, whatever it was. Did you see? I didn't see the game. I watched that little highlight package. Did you watch the last 50 seconds?
No.
I
read about it.
Embarrassing. If you're a member of that team, you should almost apologize to the fans. It was so bad. The only team that's holding up their end of the bargain right now, Tennessee, is your Minnesota Wild.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought after the start?
Just 3 weeks ago, who would have thought that?
If I would have told you 3 weeks ago it was the Wild that were going to be the shining star, not North Star, but the shining star of the local teams, you would have laughed me off.
I would have said, I'll have what he's smoking.
Yeah. And now look at us, 9-1-1.
And now it looks like we have a future superstar goaltender on our hand that, like, any year in the next decade, as long as we're in the playoffs, he might lock down the series for us. I mean,
he reminds me of a combination of Eddie Jockerman, Jacques Plante, Kenny Dryden, and Gump Worsley. Maybe even a little Cesar Maniago. I want to give the North Star guys some credit. He's really good. And Tennessee was he a flopper? Because they talk about floppers. They talk about
all goalies these days basically play the exact same style. Yeah,
okay,
and they're all 6'4".
Right. And
they spend a lot more time on their knees than the old school goalies.
And how he's really young, right? He's a kid.
Gosh, yes. He's, 21, 22?
Gosh. I mean, again, you've heard this phrase before, Tenneby.
And he fell to us in the draft. Like, he wasn't expected to. He's 23 years old.
You've heard this phrase before, right? Flash in the pan. You're panning for gold. There's a little flash in the pan. Could be. We don't know. And we got to play it out more, but it sure doesn't look that way. The kid looks like
he's putting up historic stats,
yes,
though.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying he could be. It could end, just like we don't know. McCarthy could end up being, he might have a gold jacket someday, right? You just never know when they're this young. And
with goalies, probably similar to golf, like the mental game of being a goalie can be a roller coaster. So yes. I don't want to get like too out in front of my skis here because this can change in a year. But he looks the part. Like it isn't just
right.
You happen to get some puck luck going your way for a couple games. Like he looks like he's in charge. He's confident. Every puck that hits him, he swallows it up. He's not giving up leaky rebounds.
You like this kid?
I like him a lot.
I do too.
I like him a lot. I said before the year, I probably said this the last 3 years. If this team was going to take a step, they needed young guys to step up. And for a good chunk of the season, other than Booyam, like we weren't getting a lot from our young guys, right? Like Ogren's already been down to Iowa multiple times. Urov didn't do a whole lot of. He was sitting in the press box to begin the season. Juracek has basically done nothing and has not looked great at the trade. And Vol said coming off of last year, you didn't know what you're going to get out of him, and he already looks like. I know he's not going to win the Calder because there's a defenseman for the Islanders right now that's just a stud, but he might get second in the Calder voting this year for Rookie of the Year.
Sometimes I dream that he were me if I could be like Jesper. It doesn't have quite that ring to it like Mike.
No.
But I still like it. Yeah,
I like Wall of St. Paul.
The Wall of St. Paul is good, isn't it? The Wall of St. Paul. And, so we got that going for us, which is nice.
That'll be in the next, like, weird, not wild commercial they like to do.
Yeah.
They'll show him, like, putting bricks in front of the net.
Oh, yeah.
The wall, yeah.
That's good. I like that. And so far, so good. Again, we'll just, as we get ready to turn it over to Barrero and Brett Blakemore, head coach, soon to be, in case you just joined us or haven't heard, head coach at the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings, and his day after the game news conference earlier today, which you could have heard on the Fan if you were listening, announced that McCarthy is in the concussion protocol. They don't say he has a concussion. They say he was feeling woozy. He told him about it on the plane. I forgot to show Tenneby the highlight. There is one highlight where he gets hit pretty hard. You get the Packer guy lands on him, and he's kind of stunned there for a second, looking up at the sky, and Hawkinson helps him up. Where maybe might not have been a concussion, but he sort of looked like he may have got his bell rung a little bit there. But again, I don't know. Sometimes you'll see a guy get hit really hard, and you think he's never going to get up again, and he jumps back up, but he's still in the game. So I don't know, but he is in the concussion protocol. The coach did say if, as the week goes on, that it's determined that McCarthy can't play, they would go with Max Brosmer. They're not going to go get somebody off the streets.
Who could you get?
Well, that's it. You can get somebody, but not anybody.
Ryan Tannehill and just jump right
exactly. In. Exactly. That's it. Well, I bet a Tannehill could do it. It'd be pretty basic play, but there's no sense. You'd rather see what you have with Brosmer. So they are going to go with Brosmer.
We got to see what we got.
We got to see what we got with Bros. I'm a Bros bro. Is what I am. We'll see how that goes. Do you think the Bears are for real? It doesn't seem...
It's hard to... I mean, Pittsburgh's I know they didn't have Aaron Rodgers, but it's still a quality win.
Yeah. All I know is they're in first place. Packers, who the hell did they beat? Oh, that's right. and then there's the Lions should have lost in the beat. I don't know if you watched any of that.
I just saw highlights.
They were behind the entire game. They got down by 10 again late in the game, and then the Kitties cut it to 3, and then the Giants got it deep into Detroit territory. Could have kicked a figgy to get up by 6, forcing Detroit to have to drive the length of the field, score a tutty and an extra point. Instead, they eschewed the short field goal. I actually don't blame the coach. You're out to win at this point. You're 2-8 or whatever the record is. Who cares? It's not like you were 8-2, fighting Philadelphia for first place. They went for it, didn't get it. Detroit got in field goal range. Bates hit a 59-yarder, and then first play from scrimmage after the coin flip and the kickoff, and OT. Gibbs goes 60-some yards for a tutty. And then the Lions stop. Hutchinson sacks Jameis Winston to end the game. So there we go. Thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
Yeah, I felt you did a bang-up job as well. We enjoyed a visit with you today. We're back tomorrow at 1. Tenneby's out, but I'll be here tomorrow at 1. PJ Flex Show at 12 noon. Big Ticket and Brett Blakemore next, right here on The Fan.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Minnesota!
Good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
Well done, young man!
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.